Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin with developments in the downing of that passenger plane in Tehran. Iranian officials say a number of people have been arrested. It's unclear who they are or what role they played in firing the missiles that blew the Ukrainian Airlines flight from the sky, killing all 176 on board, including 57 Canadians. New security camera video has surfaced. Some may find it disturbing. It shows for the first time 2 Iranian missiles launched at the plane in the early hours of January 8th. After the first one hits, the plane keeps flying, and 30 seconds later, a second missile is launched. It also hits the plane. Footage from another security camera shows the devastating effects as it crashes to the ground. After 3 days of denials, Iran admitted one of its defense system operators mistook the plane for an American cruise missile. And today, President Rouhani said a special court will be established and that the whole world is watching. We will punish those involved, he says, and reassure people that such an incident will not be repeated. 2 investigators from Canada's Transportation Safety Board are now in Tehran and have visited the site. And in Washington, some American lawmakers are pushing back on what Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told me yesterday about who he thinks is to blame for the deaths of all those innocent people. We have complete coverage again tonight, beginning in Ukraine with our Europe Bureau Chief, Goomansingh.
Dawna, the director of Kyiv's Forensic Research Institute, says the bottom of the plane is still missing, along with the majority of the passenger seats. The front part wasn't spotted right away because it was covered by dirt. Exhausted physically and likely emotionally as well. They are the hands and eyes that families around the world are relying on. The 34 Ukrainian experts returning from Tehran are some of those who sifted dirt and hauled plane pieces. Alexandre Rouven says they examined some of the seats and saw traces of interference from foreign elements, cuts, fragments, and metal that should not have been there. In an interview provided by the Ukrainian government, he says the elements were determined to be from a type of rocket. They were shown to the Iranians who were watching the Ukrainians work, and a request was made to come back the following day. Arrived at the site Saturday, Iran announced the plane had been shot down by a missile. 176 people were killed. Iran is now trying to quell the anger at home and abroad. The president announced arrests were made, but no further information was shared. It's a very bitter accident, said Hassan Rouhani, and it's heavy for people to endure. He suggested a special court be set up for the case because the world would be watching, and they are.
We don't have the details at the moment of who was arrested, on what charge, and what's the evidence, but it's very clear for us that Iran basically wants to have the situation resolved.
As for which country will analyze the black boxes, that has not been resolved. Ukraine wants the work to be done in this country, but it's up to Iran. A number of countries have offered assistance. Canada and Ukraine continue to work closely. President Volodymyr Zelensky reaffirmed that partnership in a telephone call with the Prime Minister. So many people are grieving, and there are still many unanswered questions.
This is a shock. This is essentially out of the blue, something we never expected to see. And this story in general is another example of how the world is global in every way.
This country's president is preparing for an emotional day. Zelensky will once again meet with the families of the Ukrainian victims on Wednesday. Dawna?
Goomansingh in Ukraine tonight. Thanks.